Yesterday, I left the gym without finishing a workout, and a couple years back, I would have looked at this as a failure, as a weakness, as something to be upset about, beat myself up over. And today, I look at that as a very disciplined moment, actually. And we're gonna get into that in just a second. But to give you a little bit of a backstory, for those of you who don't know, I have had problems with my back for as long as I can remember. I have multiple herniated discs. I have struggled with back problems for a very, very long time. And there was even a point where I was told not to go to the gym and not to work out because it could trigger my hernias, my back problems, whatever. Needless to say, I didn't listen to that advice, and I've been going to the gym, I've been training. Anyways, this is the first bad flare-up that I'm having in a very long time, years probably. And I have a couple different theories as to why I'm having this flare-up in the first place. Those don't really matter, and we can get into that story another time. But the point of this right now is that me leaving the gym was a very big growth moment for me, and that is exactly what I want to talk about. So, as I mentioned, I've had these flare-ups. This is not my first rodeo. This is not my first time having a back flare-up. And when I used to have them in the past 2, 3, 4 years ago, I developed and held on to such a David Goggins kind of mentality of the run on broken bones, run with broken feet, bleeding doesn't matter, barely breathing doesn't matter, dying doesn't matter. And I actually needed to develop that kind of mentality because before I developed that mentality, the smallest inconvenience would be the reason why I quit. So let's call it about 3 years ago or so, 4 years ago, that I had that mentality of I'm gonna run on broken bones. It doesn't matter if I'm having a back flare up. I'm gonna keep pushing. I'm just gonna put a belt on and just get the reps in. I can't leave the gym. Rah, gym bro, like that was kind of the mentality that I was having. And I held on to that so tightly because, like I mentioned before that, a couple years prior to that, so let's say closer to 6 years ago, if my freaking pinky was hurting, I wouldn't go to the gym. So as you can tell, there are two very big differences here, right? Like there is one extreme of, Sasha, what the hell? Like it's your pinky that's hurting, or it's raining outside, or I don't know, a strand of hair was sticking up the way that I didn't want it to, and that would stop me from going to the gym because I would find any possible excuse because I wasn't committed. That's really what it was. And then years after that came the mindset of, yeah, I'm having the worst back flare-up of my life right now, and I'm gonna finish the exercise. And I actually have a little story over here to tell about that. I dislocated my shoulder in the gym once, and that was 100% because of my form. I rushed into a shoulder press, and if you are listening on Spotify or not watching, my hand essentially went backwards, and the weight dropped backwards, and my shoulder popped out. And this happened also around 5 in the morning. I don't know if it was a mix of adrenaline or pre-workout or pure shock, but my response in that moment was to push my shoulder back in, like pull my shoulder back in, essentially slam myself into the wall to get my shoulder back in. And because I didn't know what to do, and I also had this David Goggins mentality, I was like, I don't know what's happening. My shoulder hurts. It's throbbing. Like I'm on it, like adrenaline rush. I don't know what's going on. I finished my shoulder workout with one arm, with the arm that wasn't dislocated. And then on top of that, I did have 30 minutes of cardio to do because I was already in prep for a bodybuilding show. So what did I do? I got on cardio and I did my 30 minutes, and then I took myself to urgent care. And thinking back on that now, that's freaking crazy. Like that is kind of psychotic behavior. I don't know what to say. That's a little bit psychotic behavior. But I also needed that at that point in my life because I had to prove to myself that the excuses weren't stronger than my willpower to be better. And I will not let myself let an excuse be stronger. Now, did I need to keep working out with a dislocated shoulder? No. The same way where shortly after that, when I had a back flare up, which at that time, they were a little bit more often, I would continue working out through them. And this is where the really big shift is happening, because yesterday when I felt my back feeling very uncomfortable and feeling that flare-up coming up, I didn't stop working out, but I switched all of my exercises to exercises that I felt like were doable and weren't triggering that area of my back. So it was any hinging movements, any squatting movements, any really like bending down that were really hurting. But I was able to do some hamstring curls. I was able to do some abductors. I was able to do some walking lunges, no weight, just body weight. And when I got to the point where I just felt like, okay, if I do one more set right now, I am going to regret this, is when I stopped and I stretched. I did a couple ab exercises just while I was stretching, did a little bit of, dead bugs and whatever, like little things. And clearly this is something that I still need to work on, because I didn't just get up and leave the gym when I wasn't feeling good, but I was still trying to figure out how I can continue to move my body, because I was craving a workout that badly. Like that's really what it was, is I was craving that movement. My workouts are not just for my body, my workouts are for my mind, and I needed that. I needed to get some sort of movement in. Leaving the gym without doing my cardio, I tried to do my cardio, and putting the pressure down on my foot, down on my feet, shot pain into my lower back. So I did not do my cardio, and I did not do my cardio session today. And today I really played it by ear and did a very light shoulder workout. Again, I'm wearing like a back brace it's really like a waist trainer that I'm using as a back brace to really help support my back. But the moral of this is without going to one extreme or the other. So I didn't throw up my hands and say, my back is bothering me, so I'm gonna leave the gym and I'm not working out for the rest of the week. I also didn't go about the extreme of my back is hurting me, but I can run on broken legs, because that is unnecessary. Would I be lying if I said there was a part of me that felt disappointed not finishing a workout, not doing the cardio session that I needed to do, not finishing what I started? Yeah, absolutely, because there is a certain standard that I hold myself to. But am I also proud in the sense of I'm able to listen to my body and understand I am not making an excuse for myself right now. I am truly, genuinely listening to my body. Yeah, there is a sense of pride there, because this is something that I've struggled with for a very long time. I've also had a very all or nothing kind of mentality. As you just heard me say, it's not that I threw up my hands and said I'm not going to the gym for a week, because way back when I started my fitness journey, if my pinky was hurting, I wasn't gonna go to the gym for a week. And if it was raining outside, I didn't care that it was better weather the next day, because I missed my workout session yesterday, so it doesn't even make sense for me to go today. Like, that is the mentality that I had. And then there was the other mentality of, I don't care if I have a dislocated shoulder, or if my back is flared up, or if, I don't know, I'm throwing up in the bathroom. Like, I'm going to finish my workout. The reason why I'm recording this podcast and that I wanted to talk about this is because I feel very called to talk about the fact that no extreme for a prolonged period of time, or even without the prolonged period of time, just no extreme is going to be good, right? So even if you are, let's say, cutting for a bodybuilding show, that is extreme. That is extreme. But you can only do that for so long until, as a female, you either lose your period or you start, having gut problems or hormone problems or whatever the case is. Now, there's also the extreme of taking a growing season or a bulk too far, to the point where you put on, 100 pounds more than what is a healthy weight for you, because you're quote unquote growing and bulking. So no extreme taken out of proportion and out of what it's meant to be and how it's meant to serve you is actually going to serve you the way that you think. And again, this is something that I struggled with. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it truly is something that I struggled with that all or nothing mentality, with extremes in one direction or another, and I'm finally feeling like I'm finding my feet. And I believe that a big needle mover for me here was also becoming a coach and being more compassionate for my clients who struggle with things. So for example, in the moment when I was leaving the gym, one of the first things that came to mind was, Sash, if one of your girls texted you right now and said, I just had a really bad back flare up, I have herniated discs, which I know about my clients, their past histories, but for example, she texted me saying, I have herniated discs, I'm having a really bad back flare up, I really don't know what to do about finishing my workout, like what do I do? My response as a coach and as someone who advocates for building healthy, strong bodies would be to tell my client, go home, baby yourself, baby your back, put some ice, do some heat, do some contrast therapy, lay down, relax, don't pick up anything heavy, don't push yourself, don't overdo it, because then you're not going to take yourself out for a day or two, you're going to take yourself out for a week or two, if not even longer. And this is speaking from experience. And when I started thinking about it in that perspective, I was like, wow, I need to give myself my own coaching for a moment over here, because why do I need to hurt myself more? And I think there was a moment where I started getting in my head about how close the wedding is, and every single day is a day closer to the wedding, and me wanting to look a certain way and feel a certain way. And like I said, the gym for me is not just about my physique. It, if anything, is more so about how it makes me feel mentally, and I need it for my brain, because otherwise I might go crazy. And I think I just started having this fear of leaving the gym and just being disappointed in myself and not upholding myself to my own standard. And that's when I had to take that step back and look at it as a coach and coach myself in that moment, and realize that it is up to my standard to be able to recognize when I am needing to slow the frick down and give my body what it needs in that moment. And what my body needed yesterday was to get my ass home and to lay down flat on the floor and to just decompress my back and to relax and put some heat on it and put some ice on it and kick my feet up against the wall and just chill the frick out. This is also where I actually wrote this down in my phone, so I'm just going to read this to you. But I wrote down probably the strongest reframe and mental shift that I've had during this time, because I've been thinking about this for a lot of time in the last 24 plus hours since I hurt myself. Well, since I had a back flare-up, I just want to preface by saying I did not hurt myself while doing an exercise in the gym. I walked into the gym already feeling discomfort. That is very important because, like I said, my form after popping out my shoulder has been the thing that needs to be absolute perfection. My everything. Hold on, before I even read this, I want to take a step back here. I did not hurt myself while doing an exercise. I believe that I triggered my back because we had a 16-hour pre-Cana course that we had to do. And during those 16 hours, for about 14 and a half of them, between the 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, that we had to do this course, we were sitting in plastic chairs, listening to speeches and conversations that were had by the leaders who were leading this pre-Cana course. And I have not sat in a chair for longer than an hour and a half at a time, probably ever, or maybe since like high school. I walk around a lot. I'm always on my walking pad. I'm always getting movement in. I'm always getting steps in. So I think that because I was sitting for so long and there was so much pressure coming down into my lower back where I have my herniated discs, I believe that that is what triggered it. On top of that, I also did get my period during the same time, which I always have a little bit of back discomfort during my period. That has always been a thing. So I think that that inflammation mixed with getting triggered while sitting for so long, plus maybe not getting the best sleep because the pre-Cana courses were full day things, so sleep wasn't really my best. I wasn't getting the best amount of sleep, and I don't think I was sleeping in the best positions either. So I think all of those things just turned into this trigger. And I just want to preface by saying that because it was not my form. It was not my form. It was not the exercise. I can admit when I've done crappy form and when I've done a crappy exercise, this was not the case. My form and the way that I execute an exercise, I have taken so incredibly serious since I injured myself 4 years ago, because like I've seen what ego lifting does, and that is just not something that I can do. So anyways, now that I'm off my tangent about that, the strongest reframe that I wrote down is that discipline is not doing the hardest possible thing in every situation. Discipline is making the most responsible decision in service of the long-term goal. So my long-term goal here, yes, of course, my goal right now is to get ready for the wedding and to look hot and look great and feel good and feel confident, which I already do. So we're right there. But my long-term goal is a healthy, a strong, a capable body. And me continuing to push my body when it's literally saying, Sasha, I am hurting, is me not respecting my own long-term goal. So this is where I really had to notice that just because I'm on a little bit of a crunch time with the wedding coming up does not mean that I need to kill myself and like go absolutely nuts, and neither do you. Now, with all of that being said, I also do want to say that just because I left the gym and didn't finish my workout does not mean that I didn't get my steps in. I got all of my 12,000 steps in yesterday, even if I had to break them up a little bit and walk for 20 minutes at a time, and then 10 minutes, and then sit, and then move around a little bit differently. Thank God that I have a walking pad. If you don't already have a walking pad and you either work from home or work a very demanding job and have a really hard time getting steps in, or sit all day at the computer, please, for the love of God, do yourself a favor and invest in a walking pad, because this thing saves my life every single day, and without it, I would not be getting in my steps. But with that being said, I got in all of my steps, I drank all of my water, I ate all of my meals, I did not change my macros just because I didn't finish my workout. I did not do more or less steps just because I didn't finish my workout. I did not change my water intake. I didn't stop taking my supplements. I didn't punish myself in any way by changing my protocol because I had to leave, because I made the decision to leave the gym early. I did not do that. One disrupted box does not mean that you have to throw everything else away. And the same thing goes for me not having great workouts today and yesterday because of this. That doesn't mean that I'm not bound to have an amazing workout on Thursday or Friday, God willingly, if my back is feeling better. So just because you have a disrupted box, just because something came up, just because something happened, does not mean that you have to throw the entire day away, the entire week away, the entire month away. Like, that is that all or nothing mindset that I really want to encourage you to break. And maybe hearing my experience right now and how I'm making that shift is going to help you reflect on how you can make that shift as well. Something that I've also introduced to my clients, and I noticed myself having to use this as well, is what I like to call a 3-level system. So there's the ideal day, which we always want to have an ideal day where we complete the full program, the full plan, check off every single box, do everything to a T. We have a modified day where we adjust the plan based on current circumstances. If something comes up, freaking having a back flare up, that's something coming up. I had to make some modifications. Or a minimum day, which is protecting your health and maintaining only what is genuinely manageable. So even today, if I wasn't able to get in my shoulder workout, it wouldn't be the end of the world, because I could still drink all of my water, and I could still get all of my steps, and I could still take my vitamins, and I could still eat all of my meals and check off every other box that I'm capable of checking off, because I'm beyond capable of checking that off. With all of that being said, I did write down something else that I want to share, and just because I like to write down some of my thoughts, and I feel like this is a good one to share. But I used to think that there were only 2 options: pushing through everything or giving up completely. Now I understand that there is a third option. I can adjust, I can listen, and I can protect myself without abandoning my standard. My standard is not that I never miss or modify a workout. My standard is that I do not abandon myself. Sometimes honoring that standard means pushing through discomfort when I know I am capable. Other times it means having enough maturity to stop before I turn a temporary problem into a much bigger one. There are moments when you need to challenge yourself, and there are moments when you need to protect yourself. The hard part is being honest enough to know which moment you actually are in. So yeah, I left the gym without finishing my workout. No, I'm not happy that my back is flared up less than 7 weeks before my wedding, but I am proud that I handled it differently than the person that I used to be, because like I said, I would have either ran on broken legs before or pulled out of the gym completely. And real discipline is not ignoring your body at all costs. Real discipline is making the decision that keeps you moving towards your goal for the long run. And this is just something that I wanted to share, because I know I am not the only person who has experienced or does experience the all or nothing mindset or that extreme mindset. And I think it's very important to know that you don't have to think that way. You don't have to live that way. And this is just what I wanted to share with you, beautiful humans. So if you listen to this all the way through, thank you. I also want to say that I am not sharing about my back problems because I'm looking for pity in any way, shape, or form. This is just a real, raw experience that I want to share with you, and I hope that you are able to take something beautiful from it. So please Let me know if you have any questions, comments. If you want to continue the conversation, you're always more than welcome to shoot me a DM or comment down below. If you pulled something valuable out of this, let me know what it was. I love to hear your thoughts, and I will connect with you beautiful humans very soon. Thank you for tuning in to another Sculpt session, and I will talk to you on the very next one. Bye.